Hello, welcome to another video. Today we're talking about chapter 3 from my book Linear Freedom, specifically accent study number 7 on page 47 of the book. This is still a 16th note chapter, but this time we're combining single and consecutive kick drum note groupings. This combines the 6 basic phrases from chapter 1 and the 4 basic phrases from chapter 2. So for the entire 16th note combination series, we have 10 core phrases and something along the lines of 35 combination phrases that combine those. As I said though, as we've always discussed from the beginning of this project, the book is based on improvisation without the need to memorize. This is where the accent studies come in, specifically accent 7 on page 47. The goal here, again, our bass drum plays the accents and our hands fill in the gaps. This allows us to automatically use all of the combinations without needing to consciously memorize any of them. What this does is when you start to improvise, you're hearing solely the accent rhythm on the bass drum and your hands are automatically filling in the gaps without you needing to tell them specifically what to do. This obviously requires a bit of practice, so that's why the individual phrases and the combinations are listed, so you can practice the particularly tricky ones if you need to. But again, the idea here is a kind of free-flowing improvisational thing. So let's look at just the first 4 bars today, the top 2 lines. We're all in 16th notes, we're all in semiquavers, we're in 4/4, so we're counting this 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. So you can hear it first of all. I'm going to play it all on the snare drum with the hi-hat keeping time. So I'm just playing the top 2 lines of accent study number 7 from page 47. At a steady tempo, it sounds like this. So that's what it sounds like. That gives us our basic rhythms for this piece. The rest of the study goes on, it extends to 16 bars. And then of course, the idea would really be to you go on and find further accent studies and carry on the same thing. You can look at big band charts, various play-along books that contain charts, look at the accent hits and follow the same thing. Bass drum playing the accents, hands filling in the gaps as per the concept from the book. I'll play it again. This time I'm going to be in this position between the hi-hat and the snare drum, and we can start to hear some rather interesting linear grooves forming. Again though, the focus, the emphasis point here is on the bass drum. So I'm going to vary the dynamics a little bit, but I'm just going to be right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare drum, and I'll play it pretty much as written. So what we can do, we can go a number of ways with this. We can start to turn these into linear grooves just with some orchestration. So this time I'll do the same thing, except my hands are going to move freely between the hi-hat and snare drum now. I'm not going to stay rigidly in one place. I'm going to move fluidly. Again, trying to use a few basic dynamics to get a sort of groove happening. Okay, so furthermore, we can start to take these around the drums now, orchestrating around the whole kit. I'm going to start with just keeping it very, very simple. So there are 4 beats in the bar. I'm going to use bar number, what should we do? Bar number 3 this time. But I'm going to play 1 beat per drum around 4 drums. So 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander. 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander. So that's going to sound like this very, very slowly. Notice, because I'm following the concept, we end on a left hand, so my right hand is ready to resume whatever we were doing. So nice and slowly, as 16th notes, it's going to sound like this. A little bit faster now. Finally, I'm not going to stick to that. I'm not just going to do beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. Instead, I'm just going to move those hands freely around the drums within that fill bar. So to keep it short, I'm just going to do 1 bar of a groove, 1 bar of a fill. But the same principle, I'm still using bar number 3 from page 47. I'm thinking entirely in terms of where those bass drums come, because that's giving us the rhythm here. So if I play the hands on my leg, you will hear just the bass drum pattern. Here's what it sounds like just in isolation. So listen out for that bass drum pattern when I'm playing that as a fill around the drums. So you can start to hear where this linear freedom comes into it. Really, it sounds very free flowing, very powerful. But when you're playing, and I'll do so in a minute, the whole study, you can imagine how powerful that sounds when really I'm just playing an accent pattern. I'm just playing an accent pattern with my feet, particularly the bass drum in this case. But you can substitute. You can use the left foot for this. And the hands are filling in the gaps because I've practiced the core phrases, which I mentioned at the start of the video. Because I've practiced the core phrases, the technique, the mechanics are already there. But at no point in this solo or at no point in this accent study am I consciously saying, okay, this is basic phrase number 2, number 4, number 6, number 3 from chapter 2, number 4 from chapter 2, number 1 again. That's not how we play music, and that's not what I'm doing here conceptually. Instead, I'm following the bass drum accents and the hands are doing the rest. So I hope that's given you a few things to think about. More of these to come, so stay tuned for more examples and applications from my book, Linear Freedom. Thanks for joining me and stay tuned. See you on the next one. Thanks a lot.